Hey, my name is PolishLynx, and let's go with it as promised. Next episode of Narcissu 0 will be the next chapter of the game, so yeah, chapter 1, 1960, let's go. I wonder how many chapters are in this one actually. Okay, at first I don't remember feeling out of place. I thought it was perfectly normal. For as long as I can remember, 30 other people lived in my house. Not including, of course, my family or my father, mother and younger sister. I said my house, but I don't want to give the impression that this great number of people lived in one room. There were several rooms, 12 rooms in a 3-story apartment building. My family and I lived in one, and everyone else lived in the other rooms. As is normal, there was a signed apartment entryway that read the Mackey home. And for that certainly was the family name. Why were there no other names hung in the other rooms? For some reason, in the other rooms, instead of nameplates, it said things like TV room and dining hall. Anyway, this was my childhood. Everyone who lived in the same apartment building was family, I thought. Really? Hiro-chan is so clever. That's what the old lady would say to me with a smile. It was Hiro-chan because that's my first name, by the way. Oh. I had no idea.
そうだ。少しお小遣いあげようか。
Should take her purse and give me a 50 yen coin out of it. In those days, that was a lot of money, and I would bow my head many times in thanks. In addition, she would also affectionately give me things like sweets. I'm pretty sure she lived on the second floor in a corner room. And yet, I cannot remember the old lady's name. No, to be exact, I can't remember all of my companions' names. Most likely, it was the same for most children. Adults just loved kids. But in my case, it was a little different. You could say this affectionate companion was one of scores. You could call these companions, who were 60 years and above, nothing but old people. For at that time, that was incomprehensible to me. It seems that our kind of facility is more commonly known as a senior citizen's home. I was wondering about it until the other day, when I saw a program about a similar place referred to by that name. Up till now, I had thought that this apartment was my family, and for the other people also thought of me as family, it seemed strange. If anything, it was a family business, being the managers and my family also all lived in the facility. And though we lived together, we were different from the others. People were always arriving and leaving. Like that one day.
Hiro-chan, 本当かい?
The old man listened again with a slightly surprised look. I nodded my head happily.
いやー、この年になってプレゼントなんて嬉しいよ。
I had told him that I wanted to make him a present, an ashtray, during arts and crafts period next week. This old man who lived on the first floor always gave me a pocket money. He was good at painting, and often displayed them in his room. I had heard somewhere that it was his birthday next week, and I thought I'd give him something this time.
じゃあプレゼントもらったらヒロちゃんにも何かお返ししてあげるよ。
So saying, he switched his gaze to a hanging picture. It was a beautiful picture he had painted. I'd loved it since forever. Reflexively I asked, for real, over and over.
おお、約束しよう。だからヒロちゃんのも楽しみにしているよ。
Honestly, I asked over and over again, and the old man just keeps nodding his head yes. Then 1 week later, arts and crafts time was abnormally exciting. I fought with the clay for over 2 hours. I took my fire ashtray and raced towards home. At first, I was anticipating receiving that beautiful painting, and perhaps he'll give me some pocket money, I thought. However, as I rushed inside, my thoughts faded away. If I could simply please him, then I would be happy. What's going on? For some reason there was an ambulance outside the house, as well as many of the residents. What in the world was going on?
ヒロシ、ちょうどいいところに帰ってきた。今日はお父さんたちも忙しくなるから、お前は夕方まで外で遊んでいなさい。
That's all he told me, as if he wanted to drive me away. Not only that, but he wanted me back when it got dark. I didn't know what was going on, but I made my way towards the vacant lot indicated. I want the sun to set soon. That's what I was thinking while playing with my friends. I was paying attention to our game of ball. Soon, however, it was twilight. Well, I guess it's that time, you know. I should be going home. I didn't see anyone there. I usually see lots of people, including my family, when everything is going normally. I was completely at a loss as Hiromi rushed over to me. She's my sister, just a little younger than me. Where's everyone? Before I can ask anything, my sister just starts talking.
お父さんね、会館に行くって言ってた。
Assembly hall. She probably meant the neighborhood assembly hall.
それでね、今日は通夜だからご飯先に食べてなさいって。
Tsuya? What in the world was going on?
ねえお兄ちゃん、早く帰ろうよ。お腹ペコペコだよ。
Saying that, she turned towards home. I followed, even though I didn't understand what was going on. Clutching the ashtray in my hand, I felt a horrible wave upon me for some reason. Now I know why. Tsuya. Of course that means wake. Families gather at a funeral, and then the body is taken away in a hearse. In plainer terms, someone had died. However, at that time I really had no idea what that meant at all. The next day, I went to visit the usual room on the first floor. 3 people lived in all the apartments. In this one there were only 2. The beautiful painting was still hanging on the wall without change, but the ever-present old man was missing.
まだ若いのに気の毒だったな。
ああ、ヒロちゃんも元気を出しなよ。
So saying, he patted my head. This other old man. The ashtray that should have been handed over was now insufferably painful. And on the wall, the bequeathed and beautiful painting. Somehow I saw it grow dull. I felt sad, as if I had been left completely alone. Living here, there were some lessons I learned. It's best not to make promises about the future. And everyone is human. And everyone dies. No exceptions. People are always leaving. And people are always coming. You are born with nothing. And you depart the same way. Yeah, kind of depressing, that information, right? 8 years later, okay. And so 10 years passed in the neighborhood. 8 years later, but 10 years? Okay, never mind. Before I knew it, I no longer referred to myself as Boku. It was the time I used Ore. I had matured into a middle schooler. My life hadn't been radically transformed. As before, I spent my days busily. There was one point of change, however.
おい、ヒロシ。お前、また学校サボる気か？
I like to skip. Besides, there's a new bed being delivered today, right?
ああ、午前中には来るかな。
Yes, I'll help too. It's heavy, so it'd be a problem for you by yourself. As I spoke, I changed my clothes quickly. I tossed my school uniform and bag nearby. Wait a second. Dude, did you change that elderly house into a hospital that we know about from Narcissu? That would be quite something.
まあ手伝ってくれるのはありがたいけどさ。
No problem. With a slightly grim expression on his face, my father returned my airy wave. With much the same feeling, I helped out at the house today. Before I wouldn't have been of any use, but now I was allowed to help. But more than that, the only people who worked in this quasi-rest home were my parents. My mother had her hands full keeping the 20 or so residents fed. Sometimes my younger sister helped out, but every day, 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night, my mom had no break. And before I knew it, so did I. I helped out with all the jobs at the home, and even with my dad's direct way of speaking, he never criticized me. For I was just a junior high student, my father treated me like an adult.
でもお前、学校休みすぎて留年しても知らねえぞ。
If it happens, it happens, I answered while making my way to the courtyard. I went out to meet the contractor's car. I look at my watch. It's 9:30 AM. Right in the middle of first period. Of course, I have no intention of going. To be blunt, I'm skipping again. Ever since starting junior high, I've been absent about half the time. However, I often skip for no reason in particular. Not just when they need my help at the home. Simply because school is tiresome. To be honest, it's because I'm required to go. But I also didn't think there was a good reason to attend. I'm not alone in skipping school. There are lots of people around me who skip too. If they matched their age, they could get jobs. There were many like me, spending all their time working for the family business. So in that sense, I wasn't particularly special. At least, I placed more importance on how I was living right now than worrying about my future education. A newly built factory on reclaimed land with good wages. Lots of guys always rushed to the scene when this news circulated, and they were never asked what year in school they were. It was the 1970s. It was that kind of time. That same day, late at night, an old woman's condition was declining rapidly. I had seen this before, this situation, but I couldn't think of the right thing to do.
何ボケっとしてんだ。早く救急車呼べ。
Got it. I answered at the same time I broke into a run toward the lounge. That was the only place with a telephone that could call family members. Picking up the receiver, I quickly dialed 911. For it wasn't my first time doing this, my fingers still shook. Hello, this is the Maki home. Please hurry over. It seems someone's had a seizure. I said it all in one breath.
まず落ち着いてください。
Yeah, sorry.
マキエホームといえば、確か2丁目の老人ホームですね。
Then after ascertaining her condition and age, they arranged for the ambulance to come. Despite how much experience I have, and yet I still can't remain composed. They are so different from me. So calm. Phew. I hung up the phone, letting out a small breath. Well, now that the ambulance has been called, the next thing I should do is contact the family members. Having made the judgment, I picked up the address book and started to dial. But just then,
やめろ、ヒロシ。
it was my dad. He had come up behind me unnoticed. Stop. Is her condition stable now?
そうじゃないが、ご家族には知らせなくていいから。
I couldn't understand that for any reason. Taking her age into consideration, if things didn't go well, she would most likely die. In other words, they would never be able to see her again. In such situations, at least a senior citizen's home was expected to contact family. That's why I thought that this case called for us getting in touch. I didn't know our obligations or the legalities, but it's what I thought we should do. As I was thinking, my father continued talking.
ヒロシ、今何時だ？
3 in the morning.
だったら、 お前にもわかるだろう。
That was my father's answer. I couldn't understand but not agree. He thought that certainly at this hour it would be a problem to get in contact with her family.
ご家族の方には仕事もあれば予定もある。お前のように眠たいからって学校をサボるのとはわけが違う。
No, I understand, but... My father let out a sigh at my continued lack of understanding.
緊急の連絡は死亡時のみ。それ以外はしない。
That, under the circumstances...
それがここのルールだ。曲げるわけにはいかない。
Hey? My father's answer was resolute. In spite of myself, I had nothing to say.
おい、ヒロシ。勘違いするなよ。これはご家族の意思だけじゃない。本人からもそうしてほしいと言われているんだ。
Her own?
ああ。まだお前には理解できないだろうけどな。
With those last words, my father left the room. Not just the family's wishes, but her own. If things go south, even when you'll never see her again. It's not that I didn't understand my father's words. I just couldn't comprehend the situation. Of course, that wasn't the only sort of person out there. If anything, most people probably want to be contacted regardless of time. However, I would say especially in the cases of families who lived in a distance away. Cicadas. Summer. I still thought it was troublesome, but I left for school. I didn't come for any special reason. It's just that today's gym class was at the pool. Well, it's not as boring than regular class. While I was thinking this, I happened to catch sight of a girl I wasn't familiar with. While everyone was having fun and playing during free time, a lonely-looking figure was by the poolside. Who is she? I hardly come to school, but even so I know my classmates' faces to a degree. But I didn't recognize her face at all.
どうかしたの？
She was looking at me intently for some reason while speaking. No, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Those were the only words we exchanged. There wasn't any reason to say more. Why won't you try to talk with her? The burning sunlight and cicada cries, the cloying smell of chlorine, the scent of summer. By the poolside, a girl with eyes cast downward as if looking off at a place she missed. She gave off an aura of loneliness, and she had impressively long black hair. Now that I think of it, that's when I first saw her. And that's where we basically end the episode. That timing. Alright, so yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and tomorrow we are going with chapter 2 called Future Dreams. See you then, bye bye. If you want to get informed every time I upload new videos, click that annotation floating above the text, subscribe to never miss a video. To watch one of yesterday's videos, click that annotation around video on the left. Annotation around the cover of the game, which is located on the right, will get you to the playlist of this series that is currently being uploaded to the channel. When it comes to following me in other communities, all the links to these are in the description.